Perfect. So before I start, I need to warn you, my slides don't look as nice as the slides you've seen before from the three fantastic speakers. Because I just crammed them together today. We have a lot of stuff going on in our company, and I wanted to use this time for a little bit of a different talk. This might come across as a romantic approach or a romantic appeal, but I think it's actually also very pragmatic. It's a view from the war room of a company, and it's my appeal to all of you listening here to also step outside your own perception bubble, show some compassion, and really try to make a difference and help people, and be the person your mom would be proud of. First of all, I want to give you a quick recap of the situation. So the sudden pandemic obviously also hit us very hard. We, as a company, we were not prepared for it, as probably all of the other companies as well. But we are lucky that our sales cycle takes a little bit longer than in other companies, and we had the time to prepare during March for sales to slump by April. And they slumped by about 80%, while we were actually ramping up even further. But before I go into that, just a quick background on what DrSmile does. So Chris and I founded this company in 2017, and we basically set out with the mission to build the first dental love brand out there. So as Benedict rightly said, we are basically a lot about teeth straightening, but this is to be the first one-stop shop you basically turn to when you think of beautiful teeth. And since 2017, we have grown from Chris and me, from those two guys you see on this picture, and one of you who is talking to you, to a company of now 200 employees. We have about 30 practice locations with all medical staff involved there, dentists, dental assistants, basically practice managers, etc. in Germany, Austria, and we are also live in Spain since December 2019. So for a very short time. We've had, to give you a little bit more on our size, we've had about more than 15,000 happy customers, which translates to actually 450,000 aligners delivered. So this sudden pandemic, as I said, hit us very hard, and it basically it was clear to us that we are in an emergency situation. We had to move very closely together in our company and basically also understand the status quo. Within each of the countries we are operational, there are different regulation. There are different regulations not only within the countries, there are different regulations within each of the federal states we're operating in, even within the cities they differ. And there was a ton of confusion of what's going on now. Bavaria in Germany, for example, closed down earlier than other federal states, and we basically had to decide what we are going to do with our company, as we very much rely on dental practices being open and people coming for their appointments. This was basically a very hard time for us as well. But we have decided together within our company that we want to use this situation now and make the best out of it, and use it as an opportunity. So what did we do? We first tried to understand the situation thoroughly and really understand what's happening here. Then, like, once we had an 80% grasp of that, we got back to our team internally and really tried to communicate very, very transparently what's happening to DrSmile right now if we now make 80% less revenue, right? Which is pretty hard for a company which is scaling up. And the third thing, and that is not to say it's least important, we communicated that externally as well. So we communicated externally very openly what's happening next. We talked to within our share, like with our shareholders, we talked like how we are going to reach our business plan goals, which were not like will not be coming as expected. We made new plans, but we also very much externally reached out to everybody who is working with us and also outside of our own working mode to support others. And that is also what we asked our employees to do. So from this analysis mode, we then basically changed to an action mode. We set up a management task force. So like our management is 5 people, and we basically daily communicate with each other. We have like a check-in, 12:30, and we discuss every issue. The same happens in each of the teams. So since everybody is working from home, obviously, we have updates in each of the teams. A lot of the team leads are taking a lot of responsibility and leadership, and like internal communication increased by a lot. Like within management, we like first of all like had to like get a grasp of topics like short time work. Michael mentioned that in Germany it's called Kurzarbeit. Everything relating to working from home schemes, government funding programs. What is there? But also like solving operational issues. It was the most important thing for me personally was that we did not want to have to let go of any one of those 200 people. So, and this is what we fought for, and this is what we also presented very transparently to our people. So everybody bought into that mission as well to support everybody, and we reviewed all sorts of cost items. We replanned all sorts of project prioritization, etc. And we replanned like how we are going to operate. And I'll show you an example of that in a second, because all of us realized in this analysis mode we did before, we are no longer in peacetime, but we are in wartime. We also basically in that action mode very much try to like come across like bring it across to everybody on the team what options we have to make the most out of this and to see this crisis as an opportunity. So let's dive into it. That is basically what guided us in everything we did or we do at the moment. So obviously we have the hope that during the next weeks the situation will be easier again, and will also be easier on the business. But we basically first of all ask ourselves how we can help as a company. Not only how we can help as employees, colleagues, business partners, but also like family members, friends, neighbors, etc. And like, because that is basically what is guiding everything. And if you do that and you truthfully do that, I can guarantee to you that there's so much power which is unleashing within the organization that the organization will come out of it stronger than it was before the crisis. And this is probably also going to build up on a fantastic trajectory once we are back in a new normal mode. So accordingly, like we basically, with regards to that, we gave everybody in our team the mentioned job guarantees. We helped with workplace setups. We set up a free shuttle service to customers so that they can come to our practices safely. And we basically did that very quickly by setting up like an Uber or like a free now shuttle. But we did the same to our employees by offering them like a free share now or Bergkönig shuttle to like come to the office or go to the practices, or if they need to. But other than that, stay at home. We talked to our partners, so to our suppliers. We talked to all our other partners, to our freelancers, to check if they are in need of advance payments. We basically discussed with all of them to not then like suddenly cut them down and let them out in the wild, but basically we wanted to support them. And as Uwe also mentioned before, we very much believe that you will be remembered during those times how you acted later on, and you are basically building very much of a strong fundament you can then utilize, particularly once times go back or like at least like improve again. So what did we what else did we do? And I want to guide you through it. So very practically, and as I said, very pragmatically, I basically asked in our practices what kind of stock we have of masks. And we had a stock of 5,000 masks here in Berlin. So I basically just Twittered to the Charité in Berlin and to the main guy like always on German TV, responsible for all the epidemiologic insights, Christian Drosten, that we have masks and we want to donate them. And once I did that, this set out a large like PR thing, and we got coverage amongst others from BZ, and I will come to that in a second. I also Twittered to a guy who set out this open source face shield protectors so that our labs were able to print them and supply them to any doctor out there who is fearing of like being basically like helping people but being exposed to the virus directly. Like, and as you can see, the Wettbewerbszentrale basically they sent an Abmahnung to us because we set out those Uber shuttles, and as a player operating in the medical field, you're not allowed to do so. But that is again something like we very much defined those times as war times, and we just acted upon things. So this is again to everybody listening here. I very much encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and just act. So what happened after we helped? So this guy Joko Winterscheid, he retweeted us, and suddenly we even had more PR. So by helping others, we actually helped ourselves a lot. And you cannot imagine what kind of power came from this woman. She's a doctor at Charité who basically then just came to our office to pick up the masks we donated, when she told us that they only had supply for 3 more days in Charité Berlin. Charité Berlin is like the main hospital over here in Berlin. And they basically were running out of masks. And there's so many people like talking about like supplying and like planning of like supplying millions of masks, but those guys literally needed those 5,000 masks so that they could, they were able to operate over the next 3 weeks. And I mean, she told us stories which I don't necessarily need to repeat in this round, but she in particular is helping children and women who are suffering from domestic violence. And obviously this time right now of quarantine is a horrible time for people like that. And obviously, this is not something I am personally dealing with on a daily basis while running this company, but this also showed me that there's people next to us, or like it even showed us more, that there's people next to us who really need, who like really need our help. And like with that help and like helping those people gives you so much power, and it also helps you within your company because it unleashes so much motivation within your team that you will definitely reach whatever you set out to reach to yourself. So the next thing we did was basically that we saw that the dental community, they were also like basically left alone by government. They were like, as a dentist, you're still supposed, I don't know the English word for it, but like there's a Versorgungsauftrag for dentists. So basically, like it's like emergency callings, and like if somebody has an aching toe, you still need to provide your services. You cannot just close down a dental office. And they were all unprotected. They were also obviously not able to get any sorts of proper masks to protect them, and they really felt left alone. So what we did here again was basically that we just bought those FFP2 masks and we offered them for free to the whole dental community. And the whole, like, we did not expect anything for that, and we also did not put any advertising into that. We just basically packed those bags and we sent them to the dentist to help. And again, I mean, you might think that this is like a marketing trick or something like that, but if you like truthfully think of helping, like, and this is not just like helping our own dentists, etc., but this is helping all dentists out there in Germany who like desperately are in need of masks. Fantastic things will come back to you. So from that, what came back from that? Again, a lot of media echo, and we as a disruptor in the dental space, we are not loved by everybody. So the orthodontists don't really necessarily love us, as we offer our product at a much more affordable price than they do. And we also offered them masks. And what came was at least like that the Bundesärztekammer like very much were fond of our actions, and they approved us. And I think there's a lot more positive things like going to come from that. So this is just examples where we helped our immediate surroundings, but you can help even more. And if you think of like the refugee camps, where people like you and me, like these people, they are still human. And if you believe that everybody is equal on this world, you just like should not forget them. And those people basically are left out there to die if no one helps them. So again, this is also something you can act upon now. You can act upon the elderly. You can support your local community. You can just hang out leaflets like that to support like the grannies and the old guys or the people at risk living next to you, and help them do the grocery shopping for them so they don't need to go out. You can help by also not being a hamster. So again, I think everybody can act upon it, and not just think about it theoretically and think about, I don't know, the government to help out or anybody else to help out, but actually like do it yourself. There's nothing to stop you, and every little like will definitely help society to come back up, and will also even if you think of that out of very egoistic reasons, this will also come back to you. And like in the context of a company, I can say that I'm truly grateful because our team is like immediately recognized the situation and reacted upon it. But I'm even more grateful for working with such a fantastic team in those times, because everybody is so motivated and you can really feel that everybody is trying their best. And I think that just for a second, not thinking solely of my own needs and my own benefits, but stepping out of that definitely helped in that. So I'm appealing again to everybody on this call, if you can just like take one little thing out of that, like be a compassionate person, and like be the person your mom would be proud of. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's jump into the Q&A.
Nice. Thank you very much, Jens. I'm super happy also to have you here. And I was delighted by your story. And that's why I thought it would be super nice to end today's Inspire and Dine with insights from you. And I think, as you said, it's something from everyone to learn and to take away from your talk. I think it's really nice. And we already got some questions. One that I found really interesting. How do you perceive the vibe within your company during the last month, especially after your donation, after you helped the charité? How did your employees react? You said they are very motivated. How do you realize this? Like, yeah.
I mean, there's some aspects to that, but like one of the topics, like I briefly only mentioned, is the topic of Kurzarbeit, right? This is a hard pill to swallow for everybody. I mean, like some people, like they were literally, they basically literally like had to cut back on salary, and they needed to think of like how to make ends meet. And like it's less comfortable for everybody to make less money. But if you think of it out of this perspective, that you basically step outside of your own perception bubble and actually think of it like, okay, we as a company, we truly help, and we really try to help, and we also really try to help everybody, not only on the team, but and support everybody and make sure that no one has to go. No one even has to think of a second of being let go and then like having trouble to pay their rent, etc. I mean, that tremendously helped on the one hand side to get a buy-in from everybody. And within, I think, a day's time, every single employee signed the addition to their contract for us to be able to claim Kurzarbeit. There was no discussion basically within our company that this is a needed metric and that everybody is willing to cut back. So like I hope this answers this question, but like if you're truthfully thinking of helping and you truthfully try to do so, like everybody on your team will also understand that there might also be a necessity to cut back on very personal individual needs. in order to support a greater good.
Thank you. Another question from it was asked, how are you planning on leveraging the media attention now that you received it?
How to leverage it? I mean, I don't know, right? That's a tough question. I'm not planning to leverage it. I think it always comes as it comes. Like we as a company, we are, let me think about it to answer it properly. Like how are we trying to leverage it? I mean, I think this or perhaps let's put it that way. Our product, our main product, the invisible teeth straightening, is a product which is not known to everybody out there in Germany. So if you ask the normal person out there, have you heard of invisible dental teeth straightening, which you can, or which you mostly do once you're an adult, etc. No, this is no one out there really knows that product. It's very much of a niche product. Yes, through our heavy social media marketing, etc., within our main target group of young adults, it's more well known, or it has become more well known, because if you're on social media, and then you've probably come across our advertising. But still, it's very much an unknown. It's an unknown product. Any PR clipping or media basically helps to educate people in the country out there about this product, and educational marketing is very much the phase we are in with our company. We did not plan to leverage it. It just came across naturally. Why did it come across naturally? I mean, if you're radical in your ideas and you really pragmatically just try to help, and you're not and in this situation, I mean, we're talking beginning of March, right? You're not jumping the bandwagon and only being occupied with thinking of yourself, but actually thinking of others. There was we were just noticed by media, and this is how media got aware of us, and this is how we received media attention. Obviously, and I'm very transparent in that. If you have friends who are willing to support your cause and echo that because they share it through their social media channels, that helps a lot. But also those friends, they would not just share a marketing message. They would only share things they stand for themselves. So this happened, and this basically also brought us media attention. So this also helped us in a way. And as it is with media, once you receive media attention from one or two larger outlets, oftentimes the other outlets jump on it as well, and then you basically are riding on a wave. So there's not really a plan to leverage it, but I guess this just happens if you have an interesting story and it's a true story.